is kind of adding in that multimodality layer. The reason why we think about like genres and text as more than just words is because of this concept of all text being multimodal, meaning that there's a lot of different meaning systems taking place at the same time. And when we say mode, we just mean like a pathway. Like I get meaning from words. Like I can look at words and I can take something from them. That's the written mode. That's one of the 5 meaning systems, one of the 5 pathways that we use to make meaning or get meaning and send it. I get meaning from what I hear. So audio, whether there's music or tone of voice, whether the author sounds confident. I make meaning with what I see. So that can be images, that can be, if we're watching video, that can be like frames, symbols, the like camera angle, the page layout, the white space, all kinds of stuff. Like we use like colors all the time to support like what topics are. Notice like if they're talking about an environmental topic, there's almost always like green and brown, like earthy tones kind of to go with that, just kind of as an example. If things are super formal, we tend to make them black and white, because we see that as more formal. I make meaning from gestures, from body language. I make meaning like with space and how far apart things are. We see this with like environmental spaces, architecture. I'm going to do some of these with just like what we see on the paper. Like when we're looking at a screen or a paper, we tend to see we tend to use space sometimes to help like break things up. We use space like if things are in close proximity, we tend to see them as a group. Sometimes like layout and space can tell us like what to look at where, what things are more important. We tend to put like more like white space if it's again more like casual and fun, and if we want it to give off a certain like serious tone, we put things like smaller and closer together. Gestures, again, we talked about this with body language. Text can be gestural too. We ask questions, like rhetorical questions, to lead people in a certain direction. We use links on web pages to gesture for a reader to like click and go to a certain place. Like we use those in text also. Visuals and audio and written text are like a little bit more obvious. But again, like multimodal is any work that has more than 2 texts. And this is going to come back to you, so more than 2 modes. This is going to come back to you, but all texts are multimodal. Like when I was 18, like way back when I was 18, I didn't have to learn this because things weren't really digital yet. I just really gave away my age. Things weren't digital yet. My classes didn't have websites. We didn't go online to find stuff. Everything was still print. So most everything, we really only paid attention to the written mode and maybe like the format. But there wasn't a lot of need to really pay attention as much to the layers that are underneath all of these texts and all the different ways, like all of these meaning systems are coming together. Now you do. You have to pay attention to all of these layers because all of these layers are always there. All texts are always multimodal because all readers read multimodally. Like you are a multimodal reader. Like when you read, you make meaning with what you hear, what you see, with the space, with gestures, with words. Because the audience is going to read it with all 5 modes, the writer has to consider all 5 modes all the time. Because there's no way around it. If you don't make choices based on those 5 modes, guess what? The reader's still going to read with all 5 modes. People will ask all the time, like, does it matter how this paper looks? Always. Like, it always matters how everything looks because your readers are always going to read and make assumptions visually. So it always matters. Just like, you go into, an interview. It might not, what's on your outfit you wore in that day might not be on your resume. doesn't mean that it doesn't matter. It matters what you wear. It's going to matter how you look. Like that person is going to make meaning with the words that are on your the words on your resume. They're going to make meaning from your body language. They're going to make meaning from what they see and what they hear from you. So whether or not you came in as the writer prepared for that is up to you, but it doesn't negate it, I guess. And we kind of talked about, and I talked a little bit about, I guess already, like why we study multimodality, because it kind of permeates everything and it really draws attention to your agency and those rhetorical choices as a writer, to really pay attention to the layers that are underneath the text and to pay attention to, I guess, like the different, like the ways in which these rhetorical choices impact text and making those choices yourself. And again, like kind of reinforces like composition rather than just writing. Like when we think about writing, we just think like words on paper. But like today, like we really, like we do like digital design in this class a little bit too. Like there's a lot that goes into writing now. It's just important to think about how communication goes beyond just words. And we really want to practice like a higher level and need for your own like creativity and choice making as the writer.